Hi everybody, Matt and Vic Reeves or Mark Commode or one of the stray cats with you. This is actually Tom's goth twin, but anyway, it's going to be one of those videos, and today we're in Todmorden, and on this channel we've covered quite a lot of folklore tales, but there is one particular one we've not covered up till now. We're going to try and cover the story of the Eeve Stone, which is a tale of fairy folk and mystery up on the hills, not far from where we are now, and revenge, definitely. The whole Eeve Stone tale is written in very old Yorkshire dialect, and I've translated it as best I can for this. I'm deliberately not going down the line of telling you the whole thing in Yorkshire dialect. If you want an alternative version to this, put it in the comments and say we want the full version in Yorkshire dialect.
We'll send you an MP3.
If you don't like us when we're laughing and joking, sorry, that's going to be what this video is all about. We're just out to have a bit of fun today. So yeah, keep smiling. Let's find the Eeve Stone. So we're heading up to Langfield, and there are, what are we thinking, three possible contenders for the Eeve Stone. I think if you ask people today which is the Eeve Stone, they're possibly not going to know. So we've come up with three ideas, but it's based on two things. One, how the rock is supposed to be shaped going off the story, and two, it does appear on an old map, but how far back in time? 1840s, so nearly 200 years ago. You can find a map which has the Eeve Stone on it. So we could be wrong. All three options might be wrong. But it is quite an interesting folklore tale, and I don't know quite how windy it's going to be as we get further up, so it may well be our voice over the whole thing, but we'll see what happens. So the story tells us that the Eeve Stone is between two buildings. Where are they?
So Croft Gate, which is here, which has got the oldest date stone in the valley of 1598, I think we've said that before.
Yeah.
And Hay Head, which is that white farm over there.
Okay.
But, interestingly, on the map, that bit of moorland up there is Hay Head Moor.
Right, okay.
And the Eeve Stone is planted somewhere here.
Right. So literally somewhere here. How's the best way of getting about that?
Well, yeah, the first contender's very close. But
okay,
what do we know from the about the shape of it?
That he could hide behind it, and it could also then crawl up on top of it to look down on what was below,
and it was flat on top.
And it was flat on top. So I think it's probably time to tell the story. So what we know is that he was hiding on the causeway. We don't think that's the long causeway, which was right up at the top. And this road wouldn't have existed back when the story was told.
No. It does in fact say it's not a cart track, doesn't it? It says it's a walking track.
Yeah.
But we know it's a flat rock, and that is contender number one.
Okay.
With the heather over there.
Yeah.
And strangely, right here, there more or less, in the mud, I discovered one morning, that it wasn't full, it didn't have a wine cork in the top, but I discovered one morning this rather delightful little ink bottle.
Oh wow.
It was just sticking out of the ground. And just there,
right.
Next to the road. And anyway, I took it home,
yeah.
Made some gore ink with my son,
right.
and that's what's in it.
Marvellous. Could it be from the fairies?
It could be.
Could be.
From the fairies.
Okay, so let me tell you the story of the Eeve Stone. I'll get about halfway through and then we'll stop. And then when we find the next stone, I'll tell you a bit more. So, this will not be sounding exactly like anything normal because I've translated it to its nearest form. So it still might not make much sense. But the Eeve Stone is a large block of millstone grit between Croft and Hayhead. We've already done that bit. You all know the Eeve Stone. Well, there was a fella lived in Walsden and they called him Rob Oar of the Deans for short. And he went on so honest, for if any of the neighbours left out on the doorstep, it were gone in a minute. Rob was always the first to hear tell what was missing, so he told folk that he firmly believed that fairies had stolen the stuff. Well, this was committing two sins, but you'll soon hear that the fairies made straight with him at long length. There was a decree amongst the fairies to bring this Rob to trouble as soon as they could. Rob had played so many of these little tricks that he thought he'd try bigger, so he came to Langfield, where we are now, and sat drinking till late on at the Mankinholes alehouse. As he was going home, he got into the warehouse of John O'Michael's and took two worsted pieces with him. So he headed to the Eeve Stone on the causeway. He thought he heard someone coming, so he decided to slip to the back of that great stone and hide for a bit whilst the folk got by. But then he hears another noise. "What's that?" said he. "Feck, it's the fairies." So it's lovely that the sun is out today, but the ground is incredibly boggy, so it's going to be one of those kind of walks. Yeah, so we're heading towards the second possible Eeve Stone contender, and when we're there I'll tell you a bit more of the story. But yeah, it's nice to see the sun at last. Spring is here. This is a good rock, and as you'll find out soon, what he does is he lies on top of it and he's looking down at the fairies. However, there is a problem with this one, as in this big rock on top of it. So what do we think about this one? Is this an Eeve Stone contender?
I don't think so.
No?
Unless, how did it get on top?
Well,
Did it split? I mean, it probably did split, but
but
no.
no. Okay.
Not number two.
Not number two.
Not number two.
Okay. The search continues. That way. What are we thinking of this one?
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not flat, unless it's tipped. It could have tipped.
Yeah. It's big enough to hide behind.
It's big enough to hide behind. If it was...
yeah, that way, that would be perfect, wouldn't it?
It would be perfect. And it is sort of exactly where it is on the map.
Right. Okay.
So,
Let's... that's a good contender.
that is a good contender.
I think it's worth the second part of the story. So Rob could hear music, and then he heard giggling and laughing like mad from the other side of the stone. And he said to himself, "I'll see what those fairies are up to." So he clambered up the stone and lay flat on top to look. He saw a long table in the field with cups and plates made of gold and silver, and the fairies dressed as though they were about to wed. In the middle of the table was a great light, a fairy light. The fairy damsels were feasting, and the old fairy was pleasing the children by blowing bubbles. The bubbles rose and landed on Rob's nose. They made Rob sleepy, and soon he was fast asleep. Seeing this, the old fairy stopped blowing the bubbles and began to sing. And this is where I need my best pal. Okay, so as you know, from if you're a regular viewer of this channel, Tom is a man of many, many talents, and one of those, he sings folk songs. So we've taken the song that the fairies sing, and here we are. This is a world first exclusive. Tom as the old fairy at the Eeve Stone.
Content. Oh, let us now merry, merry be, and sing ye elves so merrily, for Rob has been our enemy, and fallen in our hands, oh. Then the women start singing. He that lays his neighbour's trap, may himself never meet good hap, but fall himself into the gap, that he has made for others, oh. Can't read the rest. Anyway, yeah, it's a bit like that.
So I'm not going to sing the last verse. And it's strange, it doesn't rhyme really. But the last line is, "Come, all ye spirits, now from below, for the day will soon show its brow. Revenge, defer not, take it now, whilst Rob is in our hands, ho."
The only reason I don't think it...
So we're looking for stone number 3, possible.
I think stone number 3 has got evidence of sacrifice on it, but does it match up on the map?
Okay. You think we're going too far past?
This whole area on the map is called Eeve Stones.
Right.
And it comes from straight out of Croftgate. But if I was describing this stone in the story, as probably if I was describing the stone in the story and it was contender number 1, I would just say opposite Croftgate.
Yeah, rather than between them.
Which is why that
Okay.
was a good contender.
Yeah, definitely.
This one, I think, oh, it's over there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This looks a good contender, definitely.
I think this is the top.
Yeah.
This one's certainly fallen.
Yeah.
I think it was resting on that one over there.
Oh right, okay.
I think this
Yeah.
is a sacrifice.
Right. It looks like a frog, a giant frog.
And my son, when he came up here, well, the fairies or something had left him some chocolate eggs
Marvellous.
on there.
Wow.
So
It has to be this one.
it has to be.
Wow. So if this is it, Rob could potentially have been hiding at this side and then climbed up the rock and laid down on the top. Now the question is that still something we can do today? Let's find out. Quite easy in its current form. Laying here, looking down, fairies, bubbles, nose, asleep. See?
Lovely. The evidence is clear, Matthew.
The bubbles have come up, they've hit Rob's face, he's gone to sleep. The fairies have sung, Rob sleeps on. The fairies headed to the other side of the rock and took up next to Rob the items he'd stolen, which were like pieces of fabric, I think, and other things. At that point, a moorcock flew over their heads and made a noise, and the fairies realised it was dawn, and they scampered away and disappeared. At daybreak, Robber Harris was found fast asleep on the Eeve Stone, surrounded by the goods he'd stolen. They took him off to Halifax, but whether he was gibbeted or sent to sea, we never knew from that day to this. That is the story of the Eeve Stone. Oh, feck it. That's the end of the story. I wonder if that's where Father Jack got it from. It is literally written like that. I'll put one of the 6 pages so you can see what dialect I've had to try and work out. I think I've done a fairly good job. It helps having old, long past relatives who spoke like that. But I hope you've enjoyed this one. I know some people say, you laugh too much, I've had as a comment. Sorry, we enjoy making these, and when the story is light-hearted, it's good to have a laugh as well. So, hope you've enjoyed our journey to find the Eeve Stone. I think the third one, the last one, is probably the nearest contender. I can picture Rob hiding behind that stone, crawling up to the top and looking down at the fairies. And the moral of the story is...
don't blame it on the fairies.
Indeed, because the fairies will get their revenge.
And have you. If you live in states that do that.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Enjoy the sunshine. May this be spring and summer. Let's have this weather for the next few months, please. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.